All hail and grand rising. Is indeed a great and glorious day. Welcome to Triumph, the Church of the New Age. This is Sunday, April the 20th. I am Reverend Lady Mother Sandra Addison Brito. And today, all across this country, they're celebrating in Christendom a Resurrection Sunday, or if you like, I was when I was a kid, Easter Sunday. So we want to just wish everyone a happy Easter, a happy Resurrection Sunday, and for our Jewish brothers and sisters, including the Passover week. So we welcome you here to Triumph today. This is our third Sunday gathering, and as you know, on our third Sunday, it is News from the Heart. And how appropriate that is today we celebrate the resurrection narrative. And so our question for today for our community is, have you risen? I know we celebrate that Christ has risen, and what a glorious event, what a glorious story. But at the end of the day, the question is, have you risen? Have you risen above those things that have had you stuck throughout your life? Have you risen above the cultural controls that seek to bind us? Have you risen above the things in your past? Have you risen above those things that so easily ensnare you? For those that are away and celebrate the Passover, have you left your Egypt? Have you left it behind, or have you carried it with you? And maybe that is what you need to rise above. We're going to share today news from the heart as we celebrate this day. Whatever your tradition, whatever your beliefs, we celebrate you here at Triumph. So we're going to be with you for about an hour. We ask you to hit like and share. We are coming to you virtually today. We'll be back at our Newark location next week, Sunday. But today we're in the virtual space. And we ask you to hit like and share. Let someone know that we're here. Our team is going to be sharing with you today news from the heart. And Wesley, as always, is going to be sharing music from the heart. So sit back and relax as we begin today. Have you risen? Welcome, Wesley.
Good morning, everyone.
Ooh, welcome back, everyone. Thank you, Wesley. That was beautiful, nice and calming and relaxing and just spiritually leading us into this space for today. So welcome back, everyone. All hail and welcome to Triumph, the Church of the New Age, our Sunday gathering. And this is a very special Sunday for many of those in our community. It is Resurrection Sunday, Easter, as some may still refer to it, and the ending of Passover in our Jewish community. So we welcome you to this safe and sacred space on this Sunday morning. Our theme for today, as we have prepared for you our News from the Heart segment, is Have You Risen? Just one thought. Take it with you, plant it in your heart and your mind, and let it just resonate with you throughout this day and as you go beyond this Resurrection Sunday. Have you risen? So today we want to, our celebration is a little different today. Our gathering is a little different from our regular services. Those that have been, of you that have been following us for the last few months, you know that on the third Sunday, it's our News from the Heart, where our team bring to you a topic of their choosing and interest to help motivate, enlighten, enrich, inspire you as you rise on this Sunday morning. So we're looking forward to hearing from them. We will begin with our opening prayer that I will share with you, followed by our scripture and our quote for today. We'll have a short excerpt I'm going to share with you about Triumph, our mission. Those of you may not know what we are all about. And then our team will come. And I'm looking forward to just hearing from them. They're already here in the Zoom room. So welcome to our team. Welcome to those of you in our viewing audience. We welcome you to this safe and sacred space. So as we begin, would you just bow your heads with me as we offer this sacred prayer today? It's called Unity of All, and it's Hanto Yo, which means in the Lakota, clear the way. Let us pray. God of surprises, you call us from the narrowness of our traditions to new ways of being church, from the captivities of our culture to creative witness for justice, from the smallness of our horizons to the bigness of your vision. Clear the way in us, your people, that we might call others to wholeness and integrity. Clear the way in us, your people, that we might call others to freedom and renewed faith. Great Spirit, you call us from fear to faithfulness, from clutter to clarity, from a desire to control to deeper trust, from the refusal to love to a readiness to risk. Clear the way in us, your people, that we might all know the beauty and power and danger of the gospel. Ashe and amen. Clear the way in us. Have you risen? Our sacred text today is coming from, not from our Christian or Hebrew scriptures, but from the Tao Te Ching, verse 37, and it reads as such. The title is The Primal Simplicity. The great integrity imposes no action, yet it leaves nothing undone. Were governments to embrace it, everything would develop naturally. If thereafter an old ego should reincarnate, the already permeated primal simplicity would neutralize it in its pervasive silence. Returning to silence is returning to peace. Returning to peace, the world reharmonizes itself. From the Tao Te Ching, verse 37. Our thought from the day is by Terry Pratchett, is an author and philosopher, and it reads as such: why do you go away? So that you can come back? So that you can see the place you came from with new eyes and extra colors? And the people there see you differently, too. Coming back to where you started is not the same as never leaving. Why do you go away? By Terry Pratchett. Both of these readings point us to the idea of renewal, harmonizing, unity, and rising. That is what our theme is today. The question is, have you risen? I know the story. Christ has risen, but have you risen? That is the real question for today. What do you yet have to rise above? What are you struggling in that calls you to rise above it? Have you risen? I just want to share briefly, and then we're going to hear from our team. I know we're all excited and waiting to hear from them. A little bit about Triumph's mission. Triumph, the Church of the New Age's mission is to interactively encourage and challenge each one to make a meaningful impact on the lives of people in our communities. We strive to no longer conform, but to unjust systems, but to transform our community into a place of love, justice, mercy, truth, peace, trust, and wholeness. A, to declare the unlimited, and irrevocable love of the eternal one, which we call Christ. The universal source understood to be the life principle, which is also known by many different names. B, to be the Christ here on earth through acts of justice and compassion. And C, for the education of the whole person, so that together we shall transform ourselves and our world. We will rise above whatever it is that seeks to bind us to negativity, to hatred, to all the isms that divide us. We will rise. That is our commitment. That is our mission here at Triumph. Okay, are you ready? I am. Our team is here. They're in the Zoom room. We have Brenda Echeverry, Bettina Powell, and Nadia Gapur. I don't see Nadia, but I know she's here. We are excited about what they're going to bring. I don't know what order they're coming in, but I'll just tell you their topics. Brenda is doing the effects of climate change on mental health, a subject I am always ready and attentive to. And how climate change affects that will be really important. Bettina is going to talk about confusion. There's so much of that going around. Confusion over new tech tariffs. And Nadia is going to talk about the Blue Origin space flight. I want to hear more about that. How about you? All right. Wesley is going to get us started with some music from the heart. and then our team is going to go for it. Let's just welcome them as they come.
Hello, everyone. It's very interesting when a season starts in one part of the world, it changes in the other one. So when the sun comes in, it's sun for us and it's dark for other place. And that is this song called "The Waters of March." It's a song by a composer called Antonio Carlos Jobim that talks about the March period in Brazil. And when it's March there, it's the opposite from here. It's the autumn. And so he talks about how when he was seeing in his house all the rains and what would happen in nature around that time of March. I mean, last month, but about the time of March. And it has a beautiful poem, and he himself translated that song to English. I'm gonna play some parts of that melody and sometimes say a little bit of the words, singing in the way that I can. I stick, I stone, is the end of the road, is the rest of a stump, is a little alone, is the silver of grass, is the life, is the sun, is the night, is the death, is the trap, is a gun, the old when it blows, a fork in the bush, a knot in the wood, the song of a thrush, the wood of the wick, the quiver of frog, a scratchy alarm, it is nothing at all. Is the wind blowing free? Is the end of the slope? Is a bend, is a void? Is a hunch, is a hope? And the river bend talks of the waters of March. Is the end of the strength, the joy in your heart?
Woo!
Are you done? Are you still going?
I'm gonna keep going the other parts.
Yeah.
After you guys finish.
Got you. Well, I wanted to say that you shared this song probably last year, and I listened to a version of it by Sergio Mendes, and it's really good. It's poetry. So thank you for sharing it with us again. Now that I know it more. Okay, shall we move forward? Do we feel ready? Ready, spaghetti? Okay. So I'll share first. I wanted to bring this topic to y'all because last month I did a workshop with some colleagues at a organization here in Boston that supports environmental justice, climate justice, housing in my neighborhood. And actually, a friend works there. So she's like, hey, we should collab. So we did, and it was really successful because their side of understanding a lot about the environment and my creative side, the artwork, the therapeutic stuff, and how can we combine those things to care for ourselves and for our community. So I wanted to share some info that I learned, some facts, some ideas, some resources that really stood out to me. There's this idea of resilience, creative resilience, adaptability. I think that it's key to surviving, to thriving. It's a way to grow, to evolve, to find strength over challenge, and that there's also ways to protect yourself as you become more and more resilient. It's almost become this buzzword, resilience. Like, why do we have to be resilient, you know? Because a lot of these things that we are, that causes resilience are like, you know, oppressive, systematic issues that we are facing all the time. But it's also beautiful to see how the earth is being resilient too. And again, I think I always mention like looking out the window, seeing the trees and the flowers blooming, and then as the seasons change, as they become more dormant, and aligning my own mental health with that pattern. So I'll share a little bit first about what is climate change. Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns on planet Earth that are happening more rapidly than normal. That's a big part of it, that the rate has increased substantially, exponentially, if you will. It's getting hotter, storms are stronger, and the seasons feel different, maybe more extreme. Human-driven pollution from things like burning oil, coal, and gas create emissions that trap heat in our atmosphere, which makes the earth warmer overall. And climate change affects every creature, every living being here on our planet. We are literally heating up. So some specific facts: the Earth's average temperature has increased by 1.2 degrees Celsius, which is 2.2 degrees Fahrenheit, since the late 1800s. This may seem small, but it has huge impacts at a global level. Melting ice. Glacier and polar ice caps are melting, causing the sea levels to rise. And in the past century, sea levels have risen about 8 inches. And as a community with my neighbors here in Boston, we're really close to the water. That really matters. And we even see it, there's this big highway that's right on the water, and it tends to flood even with high tides. So as things progress, when it comes to changes in climate, our infrastructure is really going to have to be adjusted. Otherwise, it's going to be destroyed. So that's something to consider. You might notice these little signs every day. There's human impacts on climate change. Well, the other way around. Climate change also impacts humans specifically through drought or extreme weather. So that could cause food shortages, health risks, and property and land damage, like I mentioned. Oftentimes that forces people to flee and have to leave where they are staying. We've seen a lot in this last year of natural disasters, right? Wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, and drought. It's a mix of everything. And you see how people's entire lives, right? Their properties, their homes that they've been in for generations even are just gone. So it takes a huge toll on your mental health. In the urban environment, again, coming from the context of being in Boston, a city in the Northeast by the coast. Our neighborhoods experience even higher temperatures from climate-caused extreme heat due to lack of green spaces and a high concentration of pavement and buildings, which tend to absorb and retain heat. Extreme heat is the #1 cause of weather-related deaths in the United States, even more than the other natural disasters that I've mentioned, like tornadoes, hurricanes, cold weather, etc. It's the hot and the heat that is really causing a lot of devastation and death. This is a lot, I know. But again, with the flooding, air quality issues, right? When it's warmer, air pollution gets even more dangerous, which especially impacts people's respiratory health or people with vulnerabilities like children, older adults. It increases the risk of asthma attacks. And as you may know, and as we talked about, I want to say last week, we learned that a lot of these diseases, illnesses, disorders, however you choose to call it, physical health issues, including asthma, tend to impact lower income communities, Black and Brown communities, urban communities, right? So that's something to really consider. There is a discriminatory aspect to this. which is where that term environmental racism comes from. The idea that the environment is impacting different communities, different ethnicities, different races, different class levels disproportionately. And then finally, this idea of not having enough green space, not enough trees, seeing trees being knocked down, housing developments coming up. I've been seeing it a lot. I guess my whole life, even since childhood. I remember the sadness that my family felt just watching my parents, their reactions when they learned a lot about how our neighborhood was transforming over the years, a lot of nature and all the woods that we had behind us, slowly being destroyed, and there's like nothing left. So over time, I feel it more and more. The more that I also choose to connect with nature, the more I notice how important it is to have green space, the immediate relief that I feel in a park. And again, the idea that the parks are not always like evenly distributed throughout the cities, or not evenly taken care of, if that makes sense. If we consider a little bit too mental health, again, it's the idea of having the ability to deal with stress, relating with others, having positive dynamics in your interpersonal relationships and communal relationships, being able to make good choices for yourself, having good judgment, being able to experience joy and sadness and grief and suffering without it being a complete crash and burn. I think that's what good mental health looks like. The acceptance of the both and of the human experience without completely giving up or being paralyzed. So when we connect the idea of climate, environment, and mental health, there's some specific ways that they impact each other. There's this increase of anticipation. I've heard this term climate anxiety. A lot of young people that I've worked with, students in elementary school, I don't know, they've mentioned a lot about what's going to happen, a lot of fears about natural disasters, and some of that like is natural, right? Like there's this natural fear of these things, but it's this heavy anxiety that I notice, that they wonder about it, they worry about it to an extreme. And imagine, how much people are using social media, using screens, and a lot of this information is just constantly being thrown at us. And sometimes we don't even have a choice. If you're just scrolling through a social media feed, you don't necessarily, there is an algorithm, but you don't always have a choice of what's going to come up, and it might really impact you and stay with you. It creates feelings of fear, loss, and helplessness, which again leads to anxiety, depression, trauma, related symptoms. The constant worry about the future and the inability to control these changes also contribute to our overall distress as a community, feeling a little powerless, There's a lot of trauma that can come from these natural disasters, kind of like what I mentioned, prolonged grief, losing your home, losing loved ones or your livelihood, right? Having to suddenly, like everything is shattered, literally, your reality is shattered and you have to start fresh. And that can be terrifying. The heat stress that can cause a lot of, again, this anxiety, distress, discomfort, and just overall the impact on our community's mental health. So, thinking about all of these factors that feel terribly overwhelming, quite honestly, it's like, what can we really do? There's a lot of this focus on the individual. You need to recycle. You need to, use paper straws instead. There's like a lot of these solutions that are, I want to say, marketed to us. And it's almost like this moral thing. Like if you are not contributing to our environment or to helping save our planet, then everything's going to be destroyed. There's very much this focus on the individual instead of the focus on a lot of the larger corporations, companies, disastrous organizations out there that really overuse and exploit the community. So I want to point that out too. There's lots of ways that you can care for yourself, right? Like you can build a support network. I think about mutual aid. This is something I've mentioned to y'all before, but the idea of building like a pod, being friendly with your neighbors, being able to identify where you would go in emergencies, where you can have access to free food, where you can have access to clean food. Like I know here in Boston, there are some community-led gardens and small farms. You can support them and get like um, big amounts of like groceries essentially for supporting them. And it's quite fun. There's a lot of seed trading going on too. So keeping that in mind, you can, of course, spend time with nature, go outside and observe, even if it does bring some feelings of sadness, I think. It's important to witness the earth, Pachamama, and allow yourself to align with her. Because I think having that awareness of the interconnectedness that we do have impacts your daily decisions. You know, like the littlest things could really change the trajectory of your life and the life of your family. The smallest decisions, right? How you choose to recycle, how you choose to transport yourself across the world, right? And when and how. And of course, you can work on organizing. You can advocate. I always say advocate for the arts. If you are not sure how to support your community, always create. Um, there's this term, artivism. A lot of times we are able to express through image, through color, through symbols, through shapes, um, really important messages that might not be as well received or even heard just speaking verbally, right? Or having a conversation. But when you see a huge mural, sometimes it makes a big impact. And you constantly are reminded of these things when you see the artwork around. Um, and I really like that. I really like that. And the creative process itself is healing, right? So not only are you working to heal yourself personally, individually, but you are also sharing your creative work and getting the word out. And that's just one way. You might volunteer at certain organizations, again, with food, with environmental stuff, um, talking to people, literally just organizing a cleanup. They do that here in Boston, that you can sign up and organize a cleanup in your block. You are empowered to do that here in the city of Boston, which is quite exciting. I think that's mostly what I want to say. It's a lot, and these are things that maybe are not new to you, but as time goes on, always consider, how you are experiencing this, what you are witnessing, and again, deciding on actions that align with your values always, because I don't think you can make the quote unquote wrong move if you are aligned with your values and aligned with Pachamama. I want to say one last thing that is quite interesting that I included as a resource in this workshop that we offered. There's this organization called Art Pharmacy. And I really like the idea of that. It's basically like just like you would go to a therapist or a caseworker to get support, whether it be like financial aid, food support, right? Or things, meeting with a social worker or a case manager. You can do the same process, but they suggest like art events, cultural events around your city that are relevant for you. And they kind of create a treatment plan with all of these creative activities, ways you can engage with the community, ways you can make things for free. And I really like that idea of addressing people's mental health. You don't always need to go sign up and sit in an office, face to face and like cry. That doesn't, it does work. I love to vent. I love to cry. And sometimes you need it, right? But it's not always a good fit for everyone. So the fact that there are these organizations popping up that are validating this, that you can go get support and find like creative ways to heal and care for yourself and your community. It's called Art Pharmacy. I don't think they're nationwide just yet, but it's a really cool idea and I really like it and I really encourage you to check it out. um, I think I'll end there. Thanks for hearing me out because I said a lot.
Hello, everyone. So, wait, my iPhone just got more expensive. The tech tariff confusion unpacked. Hey, fam. You're tuning into another hot drop of News from the Heart with Triumph, where the news gets served with a side of sass, soul, and seriously, the tea is always fresh. Now, you ask, have you opened your phone in the past 5 seconds and felt like the world flipped overnight? Yeah, that was me when I saw headlines screaming, Trump announces new tech triumphs, confusion erupts. So, does this mean my next iPhone will cost the same as rent? Let's unpack this. What are tech tariffs? Let's break it down real quick. A tariff is basically a fancy word for tax, but on goods coming from other countries. Think of it like this. You want to buy a phone from overseas, and Uncle Sam is like, cool, but run me my fee first. Trump has been talking a lot about bringing tech jobs back home. And this latest move, a tariff on important tech, yet things like smartphones, laptops, tablets, all that stuff we're basically breathed through right now. This is where it gets messy. First, Trump said, hey, big tariffs on foreign tech. It's time we take back our market. Then he backpedaled like a pro cyclist in the Tour de France. Actually, we're exempt. Apple, Google, and a few others. And then, wait for it, he changed his mind again. So consumers panicked, tech companies shook, investors running to grab their therapy crystals. Nobody knew what actually happened. What prices rise? Which shelves empty? Or was it all just political hot air? Real world effects. Okay, so let's say Tarek stick. What does it mean for you and me? That shiny new MacBook Pro you've been saving for, add another $150. Easy. Trying to grab a new iPhone, might want to wait for the refurbished drop. Even accessories like chargers and earbuds could go up. This isn't just a tech head problem. It affects students, freelancers, business owners, content creators, basically everyone with the screen and Wi-Fi signal. And here's the deeper thing, fam. This is part of a bigger conversation about global supply chains and economic strategy. America doesn't make most of its electronics. China does. So when we tax them, those companies just pass that cost down to us. It's like someone trying to punish their ex by setting their own couch on fire. Plus, the tech industry moves fast. Confusion over policy. That slows down innovation, product launches, and business investment. What can we do? All right, so how do we keep our cool while tech prices might rise? We can, number one, shop smart, wait for deals, buy refurbished or consider trade-ins. Number two, you can support your local repair shop, fix it before you replace it. 3, you can stay informed, follow updates because tariffs changes like TikTok trends. And number 4, speak up. Yes, contact your reps. Tariffs affect your wallet. Use your voice. It is about protection or politics. Let's be real. This whole thing feels less like solid economic policy and more like a 2025 campaign power play. It's like playing poker with a bunch of billion-dollar chips, and we, the people, we just trying not to get dealt a bad hand. Whether it's politics or policy, the one thing we know for sure is confusion is costly, and in tech, very update counts. All right, fam. That's your 10-minute deep dive into the wild tech tariff roller coaster. If your head's still spinning, you're not alone. But now you've got the facts, the content, and the vibe to drop knowledge in any convo at brunch, in the group chat, or your next live. Don't forget to follow and share News from the Heart with Triumph. And we'll see you next time.
Hi, so I'm here to talk about the Blue Origin NS-31 spaceflight that happened earlier this week. It's just been on my mind. I have very mixed feelings about it, but to tell you a little bit more about it, it was again earlier this week, Monday, April the 14th, Blue Origin launched its 11th human flight, NS-31, which lifted off from launch Site 1 in West Texas. Basically, Blue Origin is owned by Jeff Bezos, who is also Amazon's founder, already controversial on its own. And the flight did make headlines with its all-female flight crew. Basically, this flight had 6 passengers. It was former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe, bioastronautics research scientist / civil rights activist Amanda Nguyen, singer Katy Perry, broadcast journalist Gayle King, philanthropist Lauren Sanchez, who is also the fiance of Bezos, and film producer Carrie Ann Flynn. Basically, the voyage lasted just under 11 minutes total as the rocket traveled up the edge of space before returning to Earth. While this isn't the first of its kind, it also sparked different reactions, with many celebrities speaking out about its cost and the privatization of space travel. The flight mission was supposed to celebrate women's achievements in space and exploration, but many have called it tone deaf and embarrassing. Basically, many were quick to note that the women who were able to embark on this journey, yes, some of them were celebrities who obviously had the money and connections, and were not exactly the faces you'd expect to see when you hear space. But there was also, again, former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe and civil rights activist / bioastronautics research scientist Amanda Nguyen on board. Bowe became the 6th Black woman in history to cross the Kármán line, which is the internationally recognized boundary of space, while Nguyen became the first Vietnamese American woman. Yes, there is a lot of controversy around it, but it was still interesting to hear about the flight. Miss Aisha Bowe chose to focus on how the mission helps space research in its own way. Bowe explained that they advance science today and has said that more people are going to be able to do meaningful research with Blue Origin because of the data they collected. And they have also contributed to the knowledge base of what people know about women, and that they are inspiring the world right now. Well, whether it was more of a publicity stunt for the celebrities, aka Katy Perry, or being able to contribute to science in its own way, the flight definitely garnered attention. I am all for advancing science and having women be a part of it, but I encourage you to look more into it and see how you feel. You may be all for it with women in science, or you might be against it because, yeah, it does portray space travel as being easier to um, achieve with money, but you can also, it's also beneficial towards research in its way. But yeah, thank you. That's it.
In the riverbed talks of the waters of March is the promise of life in your heart, in your heart. In the riverbed talks of the waters of March is the end of the storm, is the joy in your heart.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Wesley, for setting the energy with the music and for Brenda leading us out uh, with climate change and mental health. The challenge is, can we and will we rise above the dysfunctional, toxic way that we have engaged with nature and Mother Earth so that we can strike that balance that Brenda talked about? So we're not on opposite ends of that pole of extremism, but we are in perfect harmony and balance. Thank you, Brenda. That was so informative and just a lot of good information. I love that art pharmacy. I like that. That was really, really cool. Thank you for sharing that. And then Bettina, I told her, I said this was hilarious, but so informative. On the terrace, can we rise above the confusion? Thank you for just breaking it down for us so that we can understand it a little bit better. Can we rise above the political just hotbed, the political rhetoric, the political confusion to a place of clarity and are able to understand our place in this economy and how we can shift what's happening individually and collectively. And then Nadia, Blue Origin. I didn't know what that was about. I saw it and like, what the heck are they talking about? So thank you for bringing that to us on News from the Heart. And it's something to think about as we explore the planets and the moon and stars and the atmosphere, the privatization of space. We have privatized property here on Earth. We've carved up the Earth and said, you own this, they own that, I own this, or you can't have that, this is mine. Will we do the same to space? Think about it. Something to think about as we rise above just our own me, myself, and I, as Brenda shared, that we begin to think in the collective. So I thank you again, team, for just bringing these awesome topics to us, to our community on today. I pray that you were blessed, that you got something out of this. We're going to have our affirmations. I'm going to share with you the affirmations for rising. Have you risen? And then we're going to have our announcements. I'm going to ask Brenda if maybe she would come and share those. And then I'm going to be back with our closing prayer after the words to live by. And the closing prayer is really a short reading from the Tao. And then Wesley's going to take us away. So just stay with us for a few more minutes, and then we're going to be out of the way. So our affirmations for Have You Risen are these. And you can share them with me or repeat them after me. It says, I am back. I am here. I am alive. I am renewed. I am whole. I am complete. And I am loved. Okay. And Brenda's going to come with the announcements.
Yes, yes, yes. Let me share the slides for us. Okay. It always freezes as soon as I open it. But the first announcement is the upcoming Art and Soul session. It will take place on Thursday, April 24th. So a few days from now at 7 p.m. So you can join us live in the Zoom room and participate and come join the conversation. Or you can watch live on YouTube on Triumph Life Center's YouTube channel, where there's also the recordings of past sessions if you're interested in learning more or just seeing what it's all about. We spend the hour engaging in some spiritual discussion. We create art and try to express ourselves creatively, especially with some like self-reflection and some conversation around some deeper emotional topics. And it's quite nice to see what people produce and honestly what their process is like. It requires a lot of overcoming your inner critic and the little, ways that we procrastinate or choose to stop ourselves. So this is a good way to practice, pushing past that fear and also to just like enjoy and talk together. I really hope to see you there. It's free and we're accepting donations as always, which I'll share in a little bit too. We have our music ministry that created so many cool songs, all different genres, all different artists, and it's original music. So you're totally welcome and encouraged to check out what we've created. I like to play these songs a lot, like when I am doing events or it's family friendly, so I don't feel like, oh, I need to keep an eye to just play it. But it's quite beautiful and it brings a lot of good memories. You can find these singles and this music on all streaming platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Check us out. If you want to engage a little bit more with us, you are totally welcome to. There is, I want to say, no right way or no wrong way. We are open to accepting your ideas, your suggestions. If you'd like to lead something, if you'd like to organize something, either in person at Bergen Street or virtually, we are here for you. So you can talk to Lady Mother Sandra if you're in person, or you can email us, triumphlifecenter@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Another way to contribute is to donate financially. Your financial support will help us to continue the programming that we've created, including beautification projects, the continuation of our Sunday gatherings. We are a reliable crew, I must say. And some more of the study groups, education opportunities, and initiatives for youth. So there are some ways to donate. If you're online, you can scan the QR code. You can use Cash App. Our username is $Triumph 2020. You can go to the website and go to the donate page, Triumph the Church of the New Age International.org, or you can mail a check or money order to P.O. Box 2157 in Newark, New Jersey, 07114. Your support really matters, and we appreciate it. And we're here for you. And thank you for being here with us and rising today.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the announcements. Brenda, and we hope everyone in our audience has paid attention. You can follow up by, as Brenda says, viewing our website at Triumph the Church of the New Age .org international. We greet our Minister Obina from our Nigerian church and welcome him to this space. Thank you for being with us today. As we close out, I'm going to share our words to live by, and then our closing prayer will be just a very brief prayer or reading from the Tao, and then Wesley is going to take us away with our closing music. Let me again just thank everyone, thank our team, Wesley, Brenda, Bettina, Nadia. What an awesome job today. Thank you for sharing, preparing, and sharing, and inspiring us and challenging us to rise. Our words to live by says, focus only on things you love. Feel love, and you will experience that love and joy coming back to you, multiplied. This is by Rhonda Byrne. Our closing prayer I'm going to share as I begin from the Tao Te Ching, and it is a brief commentary on this passage that I read, the primal simplicity. When the great transformation of our planet takes place and we return to the great integrity, that doesn't mean that all the old habits will automatically disappear forever. It is likely that old egos will reincarnate for a while. However, once the new social condition permeates widely and deeply enough, we should expect that these old aberrations will tend to be more and more readily neutralized by a more and more widely and deeply pervading milieu of peace and harmony. We are rising above it all, y'all. It may not look like it, but we are. We rise together. Thank you for being with us today. Take us away, Wesley.
There is nothing to fight. There is no fear. I'm always safe inside.